Peace and blessings. Raisa Kiwala, the divorced Muslim coach. So, had my workshop this morning, Getting Through the Fog, and it went through our usual 12 p.m. check-in time that we have on Tuesday. So I'm here. I know I'm like an hour and a half late. Sorry. I'm here now. So I'm here to see who has questions, who needs support, and what it is that I can support you with, how I can help you. And so I'm here, and I'm driving on the way to go pick up my daughter. It's her birthday today. And I thought, let me hop on and let me just touch base and see where I can give some value and some support before I have to go pick up my daughter and her friend, before they have all their birthday activities and everything. So I don't see anybody on right now, but I just want to leave you with something. What's been coming up a lot in women that I talk to and that I see, and I understand and I know even from my own journey, is that we are not taught how to take care of our greatest asset. And tell me, what is your greatest asset? Do you know what your greatest asset is? If you're listening to this in the recording later on, I want you to type in the comments, what is your greatest asset? It's you. It's you. Yeah. And I didn't know that. I never knew that until much later, probably in my 40s. But you are your greatest asset. If you're joining, come and say hi, come and say salam, let me know who you are, where you're coming from. And we're not taught that we are our greatest asset. We're not taught how to cultivate that, right? And we're not taught taking care of the self in order to be able to take care of all the other things that are responsibilities and that are things that we are meant to do, that we want to do, that we're passionate about. And I know I'm not looking at the camera because I'm driving, and so I'm focused on the road, but I'm here with you, I'm talking to you. And so many women, after they get married, after they have kids, lose themselves. Hey Fatima, assalamu alaikum, good to see you. Lose themselves, or my situation, and never knew myself from the beginning, so I didn't realize that I lost myself because I wasn't somebody else before. We are so committed to our families and our children and doing what we're designed to do that we lose focus of our greatest asset. You are your greatest asset. And without, how do you treat your greatest asset? How do you treat your most prized possession? Definitely don't neglect it. And what happens over the years is that there's so much self-neglect that self-neglect causes you to lose yourself, not know who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and it leads to resentment, it leads to bitterness, it leads to anger, it leads to blame. Why? I mean, you think about the blame and the frustration and the anger we feel when our needs are neglected and not met. It comes from anger to our own self, because we have allowed that to happen. We're not taught how to care for our greatest asset, how to be in the best place. You know how they say, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. And we have to fill our own cup, because it's a personal responsibility to fill your own cup that no one can do for you, right? No one can take care of your emotional, your physical, your mental, your spiritual health. No one can eat for you. No one can exercise for you. No one can pray for you. No one can think for you. So that's a personal responsibility. But when we don't take care of those basic needs, and then we are pouring out fumes to everyone else, and then we become resentful when we do things for everyone else, that we want to do for our family members. We almost becomes a burden, and then from that self-neglect, then there becomes blame. And really, it's time for us to start taking care of ourselves as our greatest asset. And we're not given examples, we're not given role modeling from a young early age, how we see our moms or our grandmothers or our family members or women in society or community, because we're taught that that is selfish, and we're taught that that's not how to do things. And I talk to so many women now who are in a divorce or went through a divorce, and one thing that everyone says is that they lost themselves. They don't know how to be. They don't know how to be authentic. They don't know what it means to be authentic, because for so long they've lived a life that they expected, that other people have expected them to be, whether it's their parents or whether it's their spouse or whether it's community or society. That's hard work to it's hard work to be what others want you to be. It is easy to be yourself, but we make it so hard because you have to be someone that you're not. And the more and more and more that you try to be what someone else's version of what they think you should be, the more that you're never going to be happy and content and satisfied, and no one else will ever going to be happy, right? Because we're not here to make people happy. Meaning in terms of people pleasing, in terms of choices we make, the decisions we make, the way we live our life, and our why is not around pleasing people, right? It's really around, are we here reaching our potential? Are we doing the right thing for the right reasons of pleasing Allah? And you can do anything you want, but why do we hold ourselves back? Why do we change who we are for someone else? Who tells us to do that? We're not expected to do that. We're not asked to do that by Allah, right? So this has been a common theme in women, but every single woman that I talk to who's gone through divorce, who's getting a divorce, who is struggling, and a lot of times the struggle in your relationships or in your life comes from not being content or satisfied due to self-neglect, right? So that's something I just wanted to share. Unless you have a question, and Fatima, if you have any questions, whether you can think of it now or you want to come back and post later, or if you're watching this in the recording, pose your questions for me in terms of this topic or anything else that you'd like support on, because really this is a common theme and thread, that people feel lost. And when we're lost, we don't know which direction we're going in, why we're here, what is our purpose, what is our mission, what direction we're going in, and the why, the driver, the factor that's driving you to show up the way you're showing up. And it becomes full of haze, it becomes full of fog and a confusion, and doing things out of obligation or guilt or fear, which is called fog, right? Fear, obligation, and guilt. Hey, Sarur, good to see you. So that's the one thing I want to leave you with, is in terms of your identity is not the same thing as your role of a mother, of a daughter, of a sister, of a friend, of a worker or employee or a creator. Roles are very different than your identity, and identity is how you see yourself, how you show up in all of those roles. And that is a personal responsibility to cultivate that identity, and to cultivate your greatest asset, which is you. And that is one thing that women all across the board say that they lose when they focus, when they forget to bring themselves into their roles, whether it's motherhood or whether it's being a wife. You have to bring your true authentic self to that in order for that role to flourish. So that's just what I wanted to leave you with. Let me know if you have any questions and if that was helpful in terms of getting back to your own true authentic self, fulfilling your purpose, reaching your potential, and feeling content, feeling at peace with who you are, that you don't have to change anything about yourself in order to be okay, in order to be accepted or good enough. You know, you've been created as a magnificent creation of Allah, as a servant of Allah, good enough, just because you exist. So something to food for thought. Something, I know some of the people in here in this group are not divorced, so that's important for all women to reflect and to think about, because when you are at your best self, your relationships are going to thrive. Your role as a mother is going to feel a lot more fulfilling, and it's going to feel a lot more natural and easier, because you're bringing you to it, rather than you're bringing who you think you should bring to that relationship. So I'm almost here at the school. I'm gonna go and sign off, but thanks for joining me, Fatima Twins. Thanks for joining Surur, and leave your takeaways here. I want to hear from you what you're taking away from this time together, and what was of value to you, what you want to hear more about. All right, talk to you guys soon. Take care. Peace and blessings.